Well, good evening, everyone. This is Patricia, and I am traveling for history. I'm in Burlington, Vermont this evening, and this is Battery Street. You've seen this street before with me, and were I to turn around, I could show you the old store, which is the gray building right there. I actually did a video on that already, and I'll put a link in the description below. The old stone store was built by Timothy Follett, who lived up Battery Street. He lived up that way, and if you were to turn right onto College Street, corner of College and Battery, was his home, which is the Pomerleau Real Estate Agency now. I'll leave in the description below a link to that video too, because he owned the old stone store and he owned his home. Now this building in front of us, this one right here, I believe it was this one here, was the first home of the Merchants Bank. You ever wonder where businesses get their names from, like the Merchants Bank? Well, hang on. I've got a story to tell you. So this is about 1849. And when a group of businessmen, merchants, got together and decided they wanted to start a bank. Why? Why would they need a bank? Well, back then, banks could issue notes, their own currency, really. These notes, in particular, were promissory notes. Why was that important? So glad you asked. That was to allow businessmen, particularly, to go and make purchases, transact business, make deals, and not actually have to pony up their cash in the moment. The catch was that banks had to have enough depositors depositing money to cover said banknotes, because the banks made a promise that if someone accepted the banknote in a transaction of business, then they could go to the bank that was on the front of the note, and for that amount of money would be able to get the money. And not be charged any interest on that too. They were just able to get the face value and be done with it. Fantastic. A little history on this. I know I'm already talking history. A little older history. Thomas Jefferson was opposed to banks. He believed that banks would allow people to borrow money, and those people would be indebted. That they would be in debt, the money that they've paid, or they're going to pay, and that it would lead to Americans moving from an agrarian society to one of business. So Jefferson opposed that. He wanted Americans to remain farmers. So this agrarian society was what he wanted. Now, the Alexander Hamilton faction, on the other hand, pushed for banks. And we know that Alexander Hamilton's side got banks. So Vermont did not want banks. But in the end, they allowed them, only if the banks would have enough depositors, and therefore deposits, to cover the promissory notes that were out there. So people could not issue promissory notes, only banks could. And people could not make currency either. They couldn't just print bills in the basement. Banks had to do that. Now, of course, nowadays, only the mint and the federal mint can make money, can produce money, but that was not the case at this time. So Once the bank was established, Timothy Follett became its first president of the Merchants Bank. Handy, since as I just pointed out, across the street, I'll just turn around again so you can see it, the Old Stone Store was right there, and that was one of his places of business. Watch the video on that for more information. The Merchants Bank moved up to, is it College Street, Bank Street? I can't remember now if it's College Street or Bank Street. That building is still standing, but it's no longer the Merchants Bank. It's now the Community Bank. It was bought by an out-of-state bank and by Merchants Bank. But its secondary building is still standing. Its original building is still standing. I find that very interesting. So when Timothy Follett lost everything, oh my gosh, when he lost everything, he lost the presidency of this bank as well. So anyway, that's really all I wanted to say. I wanted to point this out because I think it's an interesting bit of history. And y'all have a great evening until I see you again. All right, have a good one. Bye.